Welcome to tonight's keynote address and presentation of Supplemental Awards. I'm Doug Linkart, the president of the National Civic League. We hope you've enjoyed the finalist presentations and workshops so far. There have been some amazing communities presenting the work that they do, and I'm very impressed with much of the local work that's happening around the country to combat the pandemic and create more equitable housing and help young people with grade level reading. Tonight, we will be presenting the All-America City Hall of Fame Award, the inaugural All-America Leader Award, and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Health Equity Award, before hearing from our keynote speaker, the Mayor of Austin, Texas, Steve Adler. I'd like to invite the Mayor of Acworth, Georgia, Tommy Aligood, to present the 2022 Hall of Fame Award. Acworth was a 2021 Hall of Fame inductee and served as a reviewer for this year's class. Mayor Aligood.
Thank you, Doug. Acworth was honored last year to be inducted into the All-America City Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame Award celebrates the ongoing work of past All-America cities by recognizing outstanding civic engagement initiative in the community since winning the original All-America City Award. The community-wide initiatives are judged based on the components of the League's civic infrastructure measurements. Projects must demonstrate a shared vision, evidence of civic engagement, inclusiveness and equity, collaboration, innovation, and demonstrate impact on the community. This year, the League is so proud to be inducting Dayton, Ohio into the All-America City Hall of Fame. A four-time All-America City inductee, Dayton is now being recognized for its resident engagement surrounding a 2020-2021 police reform initiative. I'd like to now welcome Mayor Mims and congratulate Dayton, Ohio on their special recognition into the All-America City Hall of Fame.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Mims, Mayor of the great city of Dayton, Ohio. It is my pleasure on behalf of the city of Dayton to accept this recognition as a 2022 All-American City Hall of Fame inductee for our 2020 Police Reform Initiative. You know, after the murder of George Floyd and centuries of systematic racism in policing, Dayton residents began calling for local police reform. In response to this movement, the Dayton City Commissioners created a police reform initiative, which is a comprehensive years-long engagement process involving over 100 citizens, police, community partners, and city leadership. To address community needs, 5 working groups began meeting in 2020 to develop a set of recommendations that were based on research, best practices, and lived experiences. Our working groups included citizen oversight, use of force, officer training, community engagement, and police force diversity. From the start, our goal was to make the reform process both equitable and empowering through intentional civic engagement. You know, our unique structure aimed to elevate voices, Black voices and brown voices, if you will, in placing historically marginalized community members on equal footing with the police in the policymaking process. All 5 working groups were co-chaired by a Black community leader. Each working group was also co-chaired by a Dayton City Commissioner, also allowing all group members to have direct access to decision makers while formulating policy solutions. I was proud to co-chair the Use of Force Committee and work alongside police and community members to strengthen policies regarding when and how officers could use force. The working group recommendation phase concluded in April 2021, resulting in 142 total recommendations. The major recommendations included the new de-escalation policy and training, a new use of force policy, the creation of an independent auditor. Also, we added the Community Appeals Board, as well as alternative response and pilot program for nonviolent calls. I am pleased to say that the majority of the recommendations are in process, or have been implemented. We have concluded and continue to include residents beyond the recommendation phase and are now focused on accountability and oversight. With the creation of 6 new permanent groups, these citizen-led bodies provide continuous quality improvement feedback on police policy. By utilizing trusted voices and partners, Dayton has reimagined what community policing and engagement really looks like. This process has already shown early signs of increased equity outcomes for citizens and for the city of Dayton. I am confident that we will continue to see improvements for years to come.
Congratulations, Mayor Mims, and to the city of Dayton. We're proud to have you as an All-America City and now as a member of the All-America City Hall of Fame. Dayton is doing some very important work around policing, as well as many other areas. Dayton is also very involved in grade level reading and improving the digital divide and other kinds of pursuits. So congratulations. I'd now like to introduce Lexi Muller, Regional Manager of Community Outreach at Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the All-America City Awards. Lexi?
Thank you, Doug. It's a pleasure to be here. The All-America Leader Award was created to celebrate the work of civically engaged community members. The award recognizes individuals who have successfully spearheaded civic engagement efforts in their community and supports the idea that anyone can be a difference maker in their community, whether it be an engaged resident, a business or faith leader, or an elected official. I'm pleased to announce the first of 2 recipients, former Mayor Roy Bewl, who has dedicated his life and career to serving the residents of Dubuque, Iowa. During his tenure, the city made progress towards its equity goals by requiring intercultural competency training for staff and partners, hired one of the first community engagement coordinators in the United States, and was a leader in launching Inclusive Dubuque, a network of over 60 organizations committed to creating an informed and equitable community where all people are respected, valued, and engaged. Congratulations, Mayor Bewl.
Greetings. I'm Roy Bewl, former mayor of Dubuque, Iowa. It is a tremendous honor to be selected as an inaugural recipient of the All-America Leader Award. I first want to acknowledge and thank the National Civic League and all those responsible for creating this recognition to celebrate the work of civically engaged community members and leaders. I recently retired after 26 years as an elected member of Dubuque City Council, with the first 10 years as a ward representative, followed by 16 years as mayor. I'm humbled to have earned the distinction as the longest serving mayor in Dubuque history. Dubuque is Iowa's oldest city. With the commitment of a dedicated team of city council members, city staff, key community leaders, and partner organizations, Dubuque experienced an amazing transformation over the last 30 years. Imagine a city in the 1980s facing economic devastation that produced 24% unemployment and the loss of almost 10% of our population. And fast forward to Dubuque today, a city that is progressive and resilient with a diverse economy, social cultural vibrancy, robust infrastructure, and a leader in its commitment to environmental integrity and a sustainable future. Through the can-do spirit of Dubuque citizens, I'm privileged to share that during my tenure as mayor, Dubuque was named an All-America City 5 times in just 12 years, from 2007 to 2019, which I am told is unprecedented in the history of the All-America City Award. In 2007, we were selected for our America's River Project, Downtown Master Plan, and the Crescent Community Health Center. In 2012, we were recognized for our plan to ensure more children become proficient readers by the end of 3rd grade and are prepared to succeed. In 2013, our application highlighted our veteran-oriented programs, workforce development efforts, and revitalization of the historic Millwork District. In 2017, we received the award for the Dubuque Campaign for Grade Level Reading Proficiency to help all our young children learn the skills needed for success in school, regardless of their family's income status. And in 2019, we were named an All-America City for our Inclusive Dubuque initiative, Imagine Dubuque Comprehensive Plan, our community health impacts, the Bee Branch Creek Restoration Project, and the Dubuque Eats Well Coalition. Essential to that success has been this. In Dubuque, citizens park their politics to come together around good ideas to make them happen. Personally, it has been a tremendous privilege to serve in elected office for 26 years for a community that gave so much to me and my family. Dubuque is my hometown, and it was in 2005 when I announced on the steps of my childhood home my intention to run for the office of mayor. It was this home in the North End working class neighborhood of Dubuque that my mother and her 7 children moved to live with her parents, my grandparents, when our father abandoned our family. I was just 18 months old, and my younger brother was just an infant at the time. My mother and grandparents worked hard, and the organizations in Dubuque, like the Salvation Army, opened my childhood eyes to what it meant to experience the unity in community. Even though we had little in the way of material possessions, I was rich. The most important lessons I learned growing up was loyalty to family and loyalty to community. My life experiences and those of others I met along the way became my motivation for civic engagement. And while public service is not always an easy path, and it is clear you simply cannot please everyone all the time, in the final analysis, it is about leaders doing the right thing for the common good. I trust that my experiences and time in local government will exemplify how ordinary people can work together to accomplish extraordinary things. Each and every one participating in the All-America City Awards are winners, and so are your communities. You have identified challenges and are working to resolve them. I remain immensely thankful for the opportunities to bring together citizens and partner organizations here and beyond to define a sustainable path forward for my community and to turn meaningful ideas into reality. And it is a genuine honor to be an inaugural recipient of the All-America City Leader Award. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Mayor Bewl. Our second honoree is Jeremy Burnside. Whether it be as a professional, entrepreneur, volunteer, father, or community leader, Jeremy exhibited a lifetime of civic leadership and contributed significantly to his beloved Portsmouth, Ohio. For many, Portsmouth was best known for its battle with the opioid crisis, and the negative attention was taking its toll on local businesses and community morale. Convinced that there was more to Portsmouth, Jeremy initiated Portsmouth's first ever Community Cleanup Day. Following the community cleanup, 1,400 people reconvened for Plant Portsmouth, where residents potted plants simultaneously to break a Guinness World Record. New civic organizations were also inspired by Jeremy's efforts, the Friends of Portsmouth and the Portsmouth Unity Project. During the selection process, the League was heartbroken to hear the news that Jeremy passed away on June 14th after battling brain cancer. Accepting the award on Jeremy's behalf is Mayor Sean Dunn. Mayor Dunn, thank you for joining us to accept the award on Jeremy's behalf.
Hi, I'm Sean Dunn. I'm the Mayor of Portsmouth, Ohio, and I'm here today to accept the 2022 All-America Leader Award on behalf of Jeremy Burnside. Jeremy Burnside was instrumental in Portsmouth winning the 2020 All-America City Award. In many ways, Jeremy Burnside's influence here in Portsmouth is very similar to what the National Civic League is able to do for cities through this awards program of an All-America City. And I say that because when Jeremy arrived down here in Portsmouth from Cleveland, Ohio, one of the biggest impacts I think he had in our community was encouraging people to see all the positive things they were doing and then enthusing them to do even more. And so when you look at the application we submitted as a city in 2020, many of those activities were things that Jeremy Burnside either directly or indirectly influenced. I'm standing by the 3 Guinness World Records that Portsmouth set And these were all ideas that were designed by Jeremy Burnside. He was, he thought of very creative ways to bring our community together. And it's one of the things that is one of his lasting impacts has been getting the community here in Portsmouth to believe in itself. And I think that's also something that the National Civic League does. We were grateful to win the award in 2020, and it's encouraged us to continue moving forward with different types of community development in our city. Jeremy passed away in June of this year after a tough battle with brain cancer, but he leaves us with a legacy of just unbridled enthusiasm for our city. As everyone has stated, since his passing, he's left this unbelievable positive impact on our city, and it's something also that the National Civic League does. I think it goes around our country and encourages cities and communities to believe in themselves and to acknowledge the great work that they're all doing. So again, I'd like to thank the National Civic League for this award on behalf of our city, on behalf of Jeremy's family, and best of luck to all the finalists in this year's competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dunn. Our condolences to you, Jeremy's family, and the entire community of Portsmouth. My name is Candace Williams, and I serve as Program Director of Equity and Inclusion for the National Civic League. It was my honor to lead the application and review process for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Award for Health Equity presented by the National Civic League. This award recognizes individuals who, over the past 2 years, have sought to address health inequity and improve health outcomes in their community through the implementation of a systems change approach. For the past 6 years, the RWJF NCL Health Equity Award has sought to honor individuals helping to create a culture of health in their communities. This year, as in years past, a jury of health equity experts had the difficult task of selecting just one honoree among so many qualified individuals who have made immeasurable contributions to their community. In the final year of the award, the National Civic League is honored to announce Alma C. Stewart Allen as the 2022 award winner. Alma C. Stewart Allen, RN, MS, CCHC, has dedicated her personal and professional life to improving experiences of health and well-being for the most vulnerable members of her community. Through her work as founder and president of the Louisiana Center for Health Equity, a nonprofit organization dedicated to addressing the increasing disparities in health and well-being across Louisiana, she's contributed significantly to advancing health equity in communities across Louisiana and the United States. It is my pleasure to introduce her as the 2022 Robert Wood Johnson Foundation National Civic League Health Equity Award winner. Alma?
Good evening. Thank you so much, Candace, for that warm introduction. I am Alma Stewart Allen, president and founder of the Louisiana Center for Health Equity, the wife of Pastor Anthony Allen Sr., a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. I am a woman of faith and a visionary. I believe, and I quote, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purposes. Romans 8:28. I have learned from experience to expect the unexpected, as anything is possible. 12 years ago, I had a vision that became the Louisiana Center for Health Equity. That vision came out of my lifelong work that spans more than 4 decades, including as a registered nurse, a civil servant, having worked for the Louisiana Department of Health for 27 of those years. My work as an organization development consultant and an advocate for public health. More importantly, that vision came from my love for Louisiana, my home. Over my career, the accomplishment I'm most proud of is being the founder of the Nonpartisan nonprofit Louisiana Center for Health Equity. The center, also known as LCHE, works to eliminate health and healthcare disparities attributed to structural, institutional, or social disadvantages, with a focus on political and social determinants of health. The issues we tackle are broad, covering racial, gender, place-based disparities, and beyond, and we have had some great successes. I am proud of our role in Medicaid expansion. In 2016, I was honored to stand by Governor John Bell Edwards as he signed the executive order, making Louisiana the first state in the Deep South to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. As a result of the Medicaid expansion, Louisiana's uninsured rate has been right at or just under the national average. As a healthcare professional and an advocate for public health, what I appreciate most is that it is saving lives throughout Louisiana, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has shown us more vividly where inequities exist, and the world can now see the impact of this pandemic. Uppermost is the health disparities and the human cost in deaths. 2 years ago, and just before the COVID-19 pandemic, LCHE announced another vision, our bold vision, LA 40 by 2030. This vision is to improve health outcomes and the quality of life for Louisiana children and families during this decade. The goal is to improve our overall health rankings to 40th by the year 2030. LCHE declared this as the decade for children. LA 40 is ambitious, yes it is, and it unites us around a common vision as we, as a state, can leverage our great assets and accomplish more so that we, as a state, can leverage our great resources and accomplish more as we work together. Because much of our focus is on children and youth, let's imagine what this future looks like for them. What does it look like for a child who is 10 years old, just 10 years old right now, growing into adulthood by 2030? One that has been protected from ACEs, is well fed, healthy, and can graduate from high school. Let's imagine the world we're creating for her or him. Imagine that he or she is your child or grandchild. I think about my grandchildren and my great-grandson, and I pray that they grow up healthy and happy. To realize this future for the children, we advocate for policies and systemic changes with a primary focus on education, behavioral health, violence prevention, and improving overall health outcomes. In our work through youth engagement, we emphasize and encourage youth voices, choices, and perspectives. LCHE's youth initiative started in 2011, more than a decade ago, with the Your Community Health is Welfare in North Baton Rouge. Then the Youth Peace Olympics Violence Prevention Program, the Lifeline Teen Summits and positive youth development activities that have positively impacted youth across Louisiana. Last year, we developed and hosted a statewide teen leadership and advocacy program called the Lead in Life League to equip teens to become advocates in their schools and communities, to promote racial justice and racial healing, to both prevent and address generational trauma and violence among youth. As an immediate response, LCHE also created Louisiana Resources and Educational Assessments for Children's Health, LA REACH. LA REACH is a pilot program to develop a holistic approach to improving school environments for teachers and students. We are taking action to address the lack of youth awareness and resources for mental health during this mental health crisis, to provide professional development training on trauma and ACEs or adverse childhood experiences to school personnel, and to build stronger home and school environments, or relationships, I should say. We also advocate for policy. During the 2022 legislative session, LCHE proposed and advocated for the now House Resolution 173, which is the Student Behavior, Mental Health, and Discipline Task Force to study these policy areas. That task force has had its first meeting already. I am pleased to say we are making progress here in Louisiana. And we didn't do it alone. We did it through civic engagement and collaboration. I share this moment with so many individuals, groups, and organizations that have been engaged and that continue on this journey with us. I have to thank my family and friends, the LCHE board, the volunteers, supporters, our LCHE team, all of these and many, many more. I cannot even begin to call names because there are so many that I couldn't possibly name them all, but they know who they are. I want to thank them for the part that they have played and continue to play, which is vital in our accomplishments. I am blessed to know and work with you. To those viewing online and here in person, I invite you to unite, support, and connect with us to create a greater impact towards the LA 40 by 2030 vision. I am so pleased to accept this esteemed honor. I would like to thank the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the National Civic League for this prestigious Health Equity Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Alma, and congratulations. This is clearly well-deserved, and you embody what we're looking for in terms of Robert Wood Johnson and health equity and citizen engagement in people's health. So thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce our keynote speaker, Mayor Steve Adler from Austin, Texas. Mayor Adler is Austin's 52nd mayor. His top priorities include mobility, affordability, and equity for all Austinites. Adler is a trustee of the United States Conference of Mayors, past chair of the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization Policy Board, and vice president of the National Council of Democratic Mayors. While he's been in office, the city of Austin passed the largest mobility and affordable housing bonds in its history. The city raised its minimum city wage to $15 an hour, passed citywide sick leave and second chance hiring protections. Still working on the homelessness challenge, the city has become one of a limited number of cities to achieve effective net zero veteran homelessness. The city has become a world leader on climate change action. Mayor Adler has received broad recognition for innovative leadership. Foreign policy named him a global rethinker, and Living Cities included Mayor Adler on its list of 25 disruptive leaders. along with Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and author Ta-Nehisi Coates, to mark that organization's 25th anniversary. Mayor Adler?
Hi, I'm Mayor Steve Adler, Austin, Texas. And I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak at the National Civic League for the All-American City Awards. It's my pleasure to be able to speak and to speak on something that is so important to those of us that are involved in public policy application, and that is community involvement. Change happens at the speed of trust. I think that's a really important thing to always keep in mind, because at its very core, community involvement, civic engagement is about building trust. Trust in defining problems, trust in solving problems, and then trust in carrying through answers. Austin's a magical place. There are so many things that are going so well. But perhaps because of that, the things that are our challenges stand out in really stark relief. We have serious issues with respect to mobility, access, everybody having the same opportunity to move around the city, to get back and forth in their jobs, to get to health clinics, to get to schools. We have real serious issues with respect to housing, making sure that it's accessible and affordable to everyone in our community before we continue to lose too many people that can't afford to live here. We don't have everyone in our community having the same access to healthy foods. We have people that are living in tents in our city, too often hidden from view. So how does a city move forward on those real important challenges? How does the city move forward together in order to be able to respond to them? How does it move forward as one? Obviously, vision is a big part of that answer, but that's not enough. You need trust, and that's public engagement. You need to be able to agree on the challenge. You need to be able to explore and analyze alternatives together. You need to be able to vet solutions. You need to be able to involve people so as to build buy-in and build a better product, a better answer. You need to get the community involved so that the community is invested, feels ownership, shared responsibility for ultimately achieving success. Now, public engagement is most elusive with those parts of the community that you most want to be able to engage, that are otherwise not engaging on their own. These are the people that are perhaps hardest to reach, maybe the people that are hardest to find. In many cases, these are the people that are least willing or interested in getting involved. But of course, if you take a look at all three of those challenges are challenges oftentimes having to do with the government and not with those people. Because those people, those communities are gathering. They might just be gathering where it is that the government tries to most often find them. But they go to grocery stores and they shop. Their kids attend school. They play, they go to parks, they go to activities. You can find these members of the community because they're places. You just need to be able to discover where they are. It's also people that are least oftentimes least interested in engaging, because these are people that have known through generations perhaps that their engagement or their involvement doesn't change outcomes. And when you see that happen generation after generation, it's no wonder that you're not eager to participate yet again in a process that you don't see working to your benefit or getting things done. So I'll give you an example. For 30 years, this city has recognized that it needed to move forward on mass public transit. Now the 10th or 11th largest city in the country with no real public transit. What that means is that there are large parts of our community that don't have the same access to jobs. When it takes you an hour and a half on a bus system to get to and from work, it's going to be hard for you to hold that job. Same thing with going to see doctors, to get the clinic for your kids to be able to get to schools. You know, we're a city that had too many young men being shot and killed by police in what felt like an epidemic with no real solutions for resolving them. You know, we're a rich, prosperous city, but with real significant disparate health impacts. We wanted to bring the community in to try and solve these challenges. You know, at our first city council meeting when I got elected, we opened it up and we gave everybody in the city the chance to participate. We turned it into a citywide town hall meeting. You could come down to City Hall and participate. You could participate by phone. You could participate by video. We brought in a facilitator. The whole meeting felt like a festival. And we had thousands of people on the line participating in ways that they had never participated before. We were able to pass, after 30 years, our first election to have our community tax themselves in order to be able to do a public transit system, but only after we spent 2.5 years reaching out to the public, all parts of the public, finding the public, to make sure that we could develop a line which turned out to have train stations and bus stations within over 70%, within a walk distance, 10-minute walk distance, of over 70% of the affordable housing that exists in our city. Design changes that came out of that public engagement process. You know, public engagement is not a necessary evil. Public engagement is an opportunity to find even better answers that you're not going to find unless you get the entire community engaged in what you're doing, to better define the real challenge that is actually the one that's being solved. It's a way to make people know that they are involved and have some measure of control over their lives and over the outcomes, that they can participate in setting direction, to feel a real part of the community and not the target of that community. Change happens at the speed of trust. If you remember that, together with that, the best change is the change that we help make and not the change that is just made for us, then you've defined public engagement. Good luck. It works.
Thank you, Mayor Adler, for your remarks, your wisdom, and your leadership. Certainly agree that trust is hugely important, and I think our All-America cities have found that they're able to establish public trust. We have some great presentations tomorrow. We hope that you all will join us tomorrow for another round of All-America City presentations. And thank you for being here tonight.